Morning all. I hope you can hear us. I think we've got everything switched on today. A bit nervous this morning for some reason, I don't know why. Lovely wife, Tina. She's going to be doing the comments and things like that, keeping an eye on what everybody's saying and asking questions, because I can't read that as well as try and build stuff. Idea this morning is to go through these again. We've tweaked them, modified them. This is the original one we built a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to build platforms this morning. We've gone from just this one section to now 12 different sections. We've got ramps, half sections, long sections, extensions, and various other bits. So I'll run through the different options within the kit. This morning, we're going to build, hopefully, this is the second incarnation of the platforms. We're going to build one of these, but slightly longer. This morning, I'll show you how it goes together. I'm going to build individual sections. When you get it as a kit, I'll explain as we go, but the top bit, rather than doing it in individual card sections, you can do it in one long run. But for this morning, I'm going to do it in simple separate sections. Run through the building of this. It's quite straightforward. Hopefully it won't take us too long. Show you some of the textures we've got. I haven't printed many of the surface textures, but they're on the website. There's 26 different combinations, I think, of surface textures and stuff. I've got platform walls. I'll show you those in a minute. So I'm just going to get my things ready and we're going to get started. So back in a second. Okay, so should I desk cam now? So hopefully you can see this. Just need to, we've changed the desk around as well. We're now a bit more organised, so I've got a bit more room to work now. Just got to get used to where the camera positions are. So yeah, we're going to go through the building of the platform sections this morning. Last time we built this one and we had solid ends and it was fairly simple construction. Still really simple, but we've modified it slightly to give a better, or make it easier to work with, just create a better product really. So what we've done with your feedback is we've now done a baseboard style spacer in between platform sections. So you've now got holes in there which you can run cables through or anything else. And it just actually makes it stronger. I've never understood this really in engineering at school, but drilling holes in things makes stuff stronger. So very incredibly sturdy these are, and you can run cables through. The construction is really straightforward, and we've created these little clips, which I'll try and show you here without knocking my water over. We've got these little clips which allow you to connect the platform sections together. So when you first build them, work on them in individual sections. What I was on about a minute ago is that each platform section has a cardboard overlay on the top. That's to give you the effect of the platform coping. So you've then got a ledge underneath, and then you've got the main platform wall. Now, I'm going to build them in individual sections this morning to show you how they go together. But when you build the version on your layout, you'll get extra pieces in the cardboard parts on the kits to create longer runs of the top section. So rather than having, for example, on this one, you've got a 168mm length on the top of this platform section. Then you've got a bit which is about 25mm on the top of the ramp and then a slope. You can actually sort of merge that one with that piece so there isn't a join. Okay, so the purpose of the exercise this morning, there will be joins, but when you do it, you can put as few joints as you want in there. Obviously, the longest we can get is about 280mm out of the length of card. If you wanted to source your own card to make a longer run, that's entirely up to you, but the kit will do a 280mm length without any joints in. And I think with a bit of careful cutting, we can minimize the visibility of the joints anyway, particularly if we were to color the edges of the paper. But you'll end up with a pretty decent looking platform when it's done. So that's how the platforms look at the moment. So we've got 3mm MDF base, 2mm section there on top, and then a 0.7 to 0.8mm cardboard overlay on the top, which gives you your platform coping and platform surface. Now, I know a lot of people asked before about the platform surfaces. This morning we're using paper wraps. If you want to do a painted version, we do a laser board slabbed texture sheet, which is 0.8mm, which you can use to 0.8mm thick, which you can use to replace the 0.7mm card. And you can also use the other textured platform edges as well. Again, we use the paper ones this morning just because that's what I prefer working with, and I haven't got time to paint stuff this morning. And plus, I'm not as good as Sam and everybody else at painting. I'd rather do it in Photoshop and print it, to be honest. So I'm working with paper. You could also use anybody else's platform textures and things, or whatever you want to use on the top. The idea is that this platform forms, or this structure, the base structure, gives you the basis of a platform for your layout. It can be any length you want. It can be within reason, any size and shape you want. And you can just go to town and do your thing really with it, do whatever you like. So, quick look at the comments.
Nigel's asking, have we thought about a perpendicular joining section to create a bay platform?
We have. Now, this can be done, actually, you wouldn't be able to clip it on at the moment. We haven't got one that will clip on specifically, but within this, it's probably a good time to go through this actually. Within this platform range, okay, this is the island platform, which has overlaps, or it has lips on both sides. So you've got your platform coping hangs over the rails both sides. Now, this one we're going to build this morning is a single-sided platform, so it only has a lip on one side and the other side is flush. There is a version also where we have no sides on it, or no lips on either side, so it's a flush version. We've also got a half-width version. So you've got half-width ramps, half-width straights, half-width long straights. I've posted them up in Facebook yesterday, and I think there's 12 variants at the minute. And we probably could add something that would work perfectly perpendicular, but you could actually make it work. You could cut quite easily if you were using sections with the lip on all the way around. You could do that. You could trim off part of the lip. Otherwise, you could use a flush platform section for the end part, for the kind of terminus, and then you could do the standard island platform or single-sided platform on the sides and ends, but this would be a flush section, so you'd have no lips on there. So you could do it that way. There wouldn't be a clip under there to join it on. That's the only issue, because we wouldn't know exactly where you wanted the clips to be, but you just bit of glue on there, a G-clamp or a bulldog clip or something on there, just to hold it while it glued, and you'd have exactly what you need.
Roger's asked, why MDF rather than birch plywood?
Because it's a material we work with quite a lot, to be honest. It's cheaper than birch ply, and I suppose there's no reason why we couldn't use birch ply. The only problem with birch ply is that cutting is non-uniform. So if we hit a patch of, well, where they create plywood, obviously it's made from layers. If you get a dodgy layer in the middle, they'll tend to fill it with glue. Now, if we are partway through a job and we hit a block of glue, the glue will not cut very easily at all. So we end up we can waste an entire sheet if we're not careful. So from an economy point of view, it's not great. MDF, once it's painted or got the paper wrap on it, shouldn't be a problem. And if it's only if it's in extreme climates, as I said, there might be an issue if it's really, really damp, but in a shed or something. But in most lofts, most garages, and certainly in the house, it will be fine.
When will we do an engage build?
Very shortly, when I've got some glasses, to be honest, because I probably have a job seeing the bits. But I do want to do an engage build, and I will do one. I will find something. In fact, I might try and turn the platforms into engage once these are done. I'll have a go at them. But I'm not great with engage, I have to admit. So double O gauge is my thing. What else?
Roy says, any chance you could make arches for a Victorian style station, such as yours?
Yes, we are working on them. We have some in development, and we'll cover this later and in a few weeks' time. We have some arches and things in development. In fact, if you look on one of our YouTube videos from about a year ago, we have a very early prototype of the arches. We've got to tweak them. Dave at Dean Park Station has been bugging me for months and months and months about them, almost for as long as I've been bugged about I'm being bested about the bandstand, which is still ongoing and will be done very shortly. The arches are nearly there. I just need to tweak some of the dimensions on them, but I should be doing them, and they will look the business, hopefully, when they're done.
Pablo's asked, are the dimensions on the website? The
dimensions for these will be on the website. If you give us an hour or two this afternoon, I'll start loading these on. I've got to finish building some of the parts. We're going to build these ones this morning. I've got to then just do a quick sort of dry test build or a bare test build of the other sections to make sure I've got them 100% correct. And then they will all start to go live on the website. So from this afternoon, they will start appearing. The textures, platform textures are already on the site. The only thing that's not there texture-wise is the platform wall textures, which I'll run through in a minute. But all the platform surface textures are there, and we'll gradually start to roll them out next couple of days, and they'll all be there. So one last question then probably, and we'll get on with the build.
Hopefully that has just answered Ray's question about whether we'll supply the papers if you want to make your own card platform bases.
Yes, yeah. These let's do two things. Curved platforms, we're covering those in probably about a week's time. We've got curved platform edges, which we know work. We have to then just sort out a pack of spacers, these spacer bits to go in between them, and then work out how we're going to give you instructions to create your own platform surfaces from the curved thing, the curved wall. So we're going to have to just, we can't necessarily provide a curved kit as such because it's impossible to know what top surfaces you're going to need or the shape of your top surface, but we can give you the walls, we can give you the ramps, we can give you the spacers, and we can give you material to make the top sections or the top surface. What I need to do is just get my head around exactly how I can give you guys guidance on making that top curved platform surface. That's the tricky bit. So I just need to work on that one. But they are imminent after these are released. So there we go. Right, I'm going to get stuck into platform textures. I'll run through these and then we'll get cracking on with the build. Because time's getting on already at 10:10. Right, so we now have 6, I think, platform wall textures. I think the 6 might be 7, but I think the 6, and about 26 surface textures. Now, the ones we're using for the surface today are ones that Dylan has requested we use this morning because he's doing a steam era platform. So these are the ones we're going to use. We're going to use the asphalt and concrete coping stones with a white line down the side. So I've just printed a pack of these off. There's 5 sheets in a pack, which from memory does over a metre and a quarter, I think, of platform texture. You've got your coping down one side, then how wide is it? 150 mil-ish, maybe slightly less. 130 mil wide section of asphalt there, and then your other strip down your side for the coping. The reason we've done it this way is because we're doing extensions and other wider parts for this, you see. So if you're building a wider platform to standard station building or platform shelter or whatever, or you just want a larger area down one side, maybe for pedestrian entrances, that kind of thing, you'll put your extension down there and you need a wider area of platform texture to wrap around. So we've just given you 130 mil. Obviously, you could just be building that size or a single size, so you just trim this one back and then put the coping on the other side. Same as you did in the previous build a few weeks ago. So that's the surface we're using. That's one of 26 surfaces. There's loads of combinations, slabbed, brick, asphalt, gravel, all sorts of things. Platform fascias, platform walls, whatever you call them. We've created, 6 of these, possibly 7, I think it's 6. This one's a very dark one, a dark weathered stone ashlar sheet. So you've got straight sections for the platform sides, and you've got some ramp sections at the bottom and the top. Each pack of these, I think, comes with 2 of these sheets and 2 of these top sheets. So these sheets here are for wrapping the lip on the platform. There's a lot of flicking backwards and forwards here, but that's for wrapping that lip under there, this second sheet. So that's the dark stone one. This is TX247. It's a very dark, kind of really heavily weathered Yorkshire kind of stone, which is actually weird because it's modelled off the retaining wall at St Austell Station, because I took some photographs of that the other week. So that's what that is, but it's I'm not sure what the stone is, but it's a very dark kind of thing. We have a lighter version. Well, this is the yellow one, the yellow version, which is more sort of Cotswolds. Same stone, just rendered in a slightly different colour. Same sections there, which I say is for suitable for Cotswolds and things like that. It's yellow again. We have a brown brick. Again, same parts to the kit. This one. These are all available separately, so you can mix and match, do your own thing. You can just choose your platform sections, choose your wraps, choose your platform surface. Red brick, We've got blue brick, which is suitable for Midland region use. A lot of the stuff around where we used to live, around Hogglescote and things like that, around the Leicester area, it was all blue brick, so that's suitable for that area. Then we have a dark red brick. Again, same texture, just rendered in a different brick. And you've got lime streaks and dirty weathering streaks and stuff all over these. So they're pre-weathered, so you haven't got to do a lot of work really, other than just glue them onto your platforms. And the one we're going to use this morning is the kind of mid-range of the stone. It's I'll call it a light random ashlar platform texture. It's a little bit more grey than the other one, than the really dark one. So we're going to use that this morning. And we're going to build what will be LX399 and LX403. LX399 is the platform ramps. Now, if any of this doesn't go together as I build it, you'll just have to bear with me, because this is like the final prototype, but I still may have made the odd mistake. So we'll have to just wing it and see how we go. I've offered up all the parts for most of it, and I think we're probably okay. The only thing I've just noticed is that part of that might not be right, but we can sort that. In fact, I might not have the right sheet there. We can sort that in a minute. With there being that many options with this, it was quite confusing actually putting all the parts together as I was designing it. So sorry, Tina. Getting in Tina's way here. Okay, and we're going to build the LX403, which is the long straight. So we'll do this one first, and we'll come to the ramps second, because I'm not sure my card parts for the ramp are 100% correct. So each kit will build 2 platform sections. You've got 2 ramps, 2 straights, 2 extensions, and these pop out pretty much. So this is the 280mm long, 280mm? Yeah, 280mm long platform section. It's got 2 sides. Now each of these platform sections, these are 14, 15mm tall, and the platforms themselves will be 19mm tall when they're built. Now, if you're using solid MDF, ply, plasterboard, whatever you're using to do your own platforms, you can still use the textures that we've done over there, same texture sheets. Those textures are designed for, the main walls are 15-ish millimeters high, but then you've got the other wrap which goes along the top. Now you could use the top wrap to cover a strip underneath your platform surface to give you the impression of there being a ledge there. So if your platform is 18 millimeters tall, so your MDF you're using is 18mm thick, then you can use the platform texture to do the main wall wrap, and then use the top texture, cut a strip of that and run it along underneath your platform, the ledge of your, or the coping on your platform, and you will hopefully have a decent looking platform. Right, loads of questions by the look of it.
Facebook users asked whether you're able to do a concrete bridge or wall as an incline and descent for ramps.
Yes, yeah, we should be able to. Again, it's just something we've got to put into the big long list of things to do.
Roger's asked whether you would do a granite texture.
Yeah, we can do a granite texture. We've got some granite textures in the range, and I can probably do a platform version of it. I've got a Cornish stone, which is Cornish granite, which is quite nice. That might work well as a granite platform. To be honest, I was Googling platforms, trying to find various platforms around the UK just to get a feel for what materials were used. And I couldn't really find that many stone ones, to be honest, other than ones that look like the Yorkshire stone kind of platform. So if you've got any pictures anybody can send in, that would be amazing. Right, I'm just doing a very quick test fit of these to make sure they're going to go together as I expect they will. That's going to work. It's just these. I might have to send Tina on a reconnaissance mission to try and find some cardboard parts, whether we've got cardboard parts the right width. If we've got any ramp pieces that are the same width as that anyway, please, on that desk anywhere over there, or something even larger that I can cut down, because I've obviously messed them up. Right, so just doing a quick test fit of these, because this is the final prototype, and I may well have cocked it up completely. Wouldn't be the first time. Okay, yeah, we've put that upside down. I've put arrows on these things here, so there's little arrows that point in the direction of either the platform coping or the platform surface, just so you know you've got them 100% correct. So yeah, that'll go together. Right, let's get cracking. Glue. Okay. It's that one. Yeah, top. How did I mess that up completely? Right, anyway, we've got the right platform surface sections down for the ramps, which is good. Tina's found them. Okay. These are probably easiest to glue. I can't glue them into there because I've got to wrap that yet, so I can't do it that way. So I've got to get my head around this finally before I write the instructions as well. So, 2 platform sides, both with arrows pointing to the top surface of the platform. So we've got arrows there and there, pointing up to this section which will sit on the top. Then we've got these corner pieces on spacers, so we're going to glue those into there. We're going to give ourselves a frame. We may need SX02 perhaps just to get the first few parts going and make sure they're square. So part number 1, let's get this into here. Okay, I'm using Deluxe, usual stuff, Deluxe laser cut kit glue, DL-AD87, because it sets really quickly. And that's somebody coming to do a delivery downstairs. Right, I'm just going to hold that in that corner of this SX02 to give us a nice square corner there. And while that one starts to set, put some on there. Okay, this glue sets quite quickly, so it shouldn't take many seconds to grip. I won't glue it into the corner of the what's it? Jig, which wouldn't be the first time. Got it the right way up. That's a bit of strength to it now. Hopefully.
Peter's asked whether we'll be saying more about the extensions later.
Yeah, will be. I will. If this goes together all right, I'll quickly do a dry build of one of the extensions. But the idea is there's, let's say, 12 different sections of the platform. And as this goes together, it'll make more sense, hopefully. Just put a bit of glue down there. It's starting to take shape now.
Gary said thank you for the reprint of the walkway. Can you curve the cable trunking round curves?
Yeah, you can do cable trunking. Will go the LX35. Yes, that'll go around curves. Yeah, as you build it, but you need it'll. There's enough. My words out. There's enough play in it to go to tease it round a curve. Maybe not a first radius curve, but definitely a second and third radius and fourth radius. Easy enough. When you've built it, if you just give it a gentle twist, it's a bit like, because it'll go. You know, it's card at the end of the day, so there's enough giving it to get it round. Right, so that's the main frame of our platform done. So that will then have, if it all lines up, which it hopefully does. Yep. Okay, that's going to go on there. We're not gluing it on yet though, because we're going to wrap it first. But that's going to give us a lip along the front of the platform, just there, and then the back of the platform is going to be flush. Okay. And then we're going to put the card on top, which again is going to give us another lip. So we're going to use today, where did I put them? These ones. So this is the boring bit, unfortunately. Going to wrap the platforms. Should have done here's one I made earlier, but I was too busy trying to get all the wraps finished yesterday and trying to get all the platform sections cut and get everything organised to be able to cut these out. And then when I went home, I meant to take some bits home to work on last night and completely forgot everything. So you'll have to bear with me while I cut these out. So that's that one and one for the other side. This is where my hands start shaking when I'm doing this.
Derek has asked whether we're going to increase texture ranges for Engage.
Yep, they'll all be converted over gradually. Again, it just comes down to time. But yes, there will be more. These are all ready to be converted to Engage. The brick textures can be converted really easily. So yeah, there will be, and the platform textures will all be out in Engage since we've got the platform. Well, in fact, I'll do the textures first, then I'll do the laser cut parts of the platforms, because I know a lot of people just scratch build platforms anyway, so it's probably just as well to make those available straight away. Okay.
John asked whether you can look at doing a modern era concrete style edging walls.
Yeah, that was asked for last week as well. We will be. We need to do a separate set of platform sections or structures, because obviously you've got the concrete vertical pieces, and if we put those on this one, it wouldn't quite work with the lip underneath the platform edging. So we need to tweak the design of these the platform bases a little bit. Okay, so that fits on there, which I'm relieved about, because that's 280mm and that fits perfectly. So we're going to glue that on there with a bit of Yoo-hoo, both sides. That gives us the beginnings of our basic platform. Hopefully these will take shape quite quick now. So I'm using Yoo-hoo. I can't get on with Prit. I just don't like it. This is my weapon of choice with glue. It's £1 from the pound shop, and it works a treat. Just cover it. Cover the MDF with that. And leave it a couple of seconds just to start to dry a little.
Roger's asked why not half cut the wrap sheet pieces like Metcalfe kits.
Because it would add a huge amount of, to the cost. Our production methods are different to Metcalfe. Metcalfe use die cutting. They've got big die cutting machines. We don't have that. We have lasers. Metcalfe can stamp the sheets out in milliseconds, so they can produce probably, I don't know, hundreds of sheets in a few minutes. Our production methods are different. A laser cuts like a knife, so it goes like that, and it still takes time. So if we'd cut all these, it would be nice to cut them all, but cutting speed on paper is about that sort of speed. You know, so if we were to cut, say we had, I don't know, 30 platforms to make, it's going to take us many hours to cut all the MDF parts, which take long enough, then the paper parts and everything else. It would be in an ideal situation, yes, it would be lovely to do it, but at the moment it's just not practical. We also have to use a camera system, which complicates matters even more, because it has to be able to identify exactly where the parts are on the sheet to cut them. It doesn't actually look at the parts, it uses dots on the sheet to line the camera up and then cuts according to the dots in the file you've set up. It'd be something we would really like to do, but that's for a few years away, I think, a couple of years away, perhaps. Or until the speed of the laser machines is at a point where we can turn them out as fast as die cutting, then it will be doable, I think. But at the moment, it's this way, really. It's our only choice.
Kane asked, would you consider doing a kit like Pico platform edging?
Yeah, that's the what's it, the concrete stuff, I'm assuming. I can't remember what the part number is. But yeah, the concrete edging, yes, we'll do something like that. It's particularly for those that want to scratch build their own stuff, it's quite useful. If we make them 18mm high, it'll work with 18mm ply, 18mm MDF, and all the rest of it, work with these wraps. So yes, it'll be done as soon as possible, really. It'll follow on shortly after this, but I've got a couple of the jobs I need to get done before I can get to that. Right, we have platform walls now, hopefully looking something like weathered. So a bit quicker than painting it, perhaps. I know Sam and Dylan and stuff would probably much prefer to paint it all, but I like working with paper. Okay, so we've done that. Now we're going to wrap the top platform surface, or this is the ledge. I don't really know what it's called really, but it's the ledge that sits underneath your main platform surface. So what we're going to do is going to cut out strips of these, and we're going to wrap that around this edge. What I will do on the production version is there will be some score marks on here as well, so you know exactly where to score. But for the minute, I'm just going to wing it.
Tony's asked, are we likely to do a water crane?
We may 3D print one at some point. I've got a good yard crane I want to do. We may do a water crane. It depends. We obviously can't laser round stuff. That's the thing. We can only laser flat stuff. So if we were to do one, we'd have to 3D print it. It's an idea of something that can be added to the big list of projects. Yeah, but it'd be nice to do.
Facebook users asked whether you can use Pico Sidewalls and your coping edges on these.
You could, yeah, you could. You probably need to trim down. In fact, if you buy the flush-sided one, if you went for the flush-sided option, you could then do your thing with Pico. You wouldn't need to cut any of this down. So the flush-sided version will give you exactly that with a flush edge down that side there. So you could use the Pico edging with it on there. The only, yeah, that's right there, because that's 18mm tall now. So that should work. I think that should work fine with Pico, I believe. Let me just check. That's 17mm tall, that's 17mm plus 1mm for your top layer. Yeah, it should work actually. If the Pico sidewalls are 18mm, then yes, it would work.
Ian said that the wraps have a slight sheen. Would it be okay or would it be okay or better to spray them with a matte varnish to matte them down?
Yep.
Once it's built.
Yep, definitely. Give them a quick coat of Halford's matte lacquer or whatever you want, wherever you want to get your lacquer from. But yes, definitely give them a quick coat of something just to tone them down a bit.
Well, Derek's then asked, what sealing spray could you use?
Yeah, we just used Halford's matte lacquer, to be honest. You don't need anything fancy. Right, what I'm going to do now then is going to glue this. I'm going to put some Yoo-hoo on this bit. I'm going to glue this down that edge there. Wait for that to dry, then fold it round. That's the plan. So let's put a little bit of Yoo-hoo down here.
Each would fail.
Do that side. Sorry, that side, because on here, let's do it properly. We've got arrows marked. There's arrows marked pointing to the platform edge, so we know which is the front of the platform, the bit that overhangs. So just so I keep everything correct, let's do it up right. Sorry, team. Yep.
Each would fail have asked whether we'd be able to show how we produce the kits.
We will do at some point when we've fully tidied up downstairs. I'll do a bit of a behind the scenes thing and do a kind of a run through, kind of. Well, probably a video rather than a live thing, but we'll do a feature of kit production at some point. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gluing this on now so that can be used to cover the front edge, and I'll do the same along the back edge in a minute as well. So that's that piece. That's not one. Did I not cut two out? No, just did one. Need another one for the back edge. Fortunately, this is the boring bit. but it's the bit that makes it look like a platform. So please bear with me. Ow, ow, ow. That's caught my finger.
You're right.
Yeah.
I get plaster.
I've just cut my finger. There we go. Ow, that hurt. I'm just wait for a plaster now, without getting blood on everything now. Thought I might do that. No, I'm not good with blood, so if I faint in a minute, then you'll know what's happened. If you're a clonk, that's me falling off my chair. Ow, that hurt. The risks of working with knives. Right. Just holding my finger together to try and hold the piece of skin on the end of my finger so I don't lose it and end up in a mess. Oh, that hurt. Bear with me a second. It's all right, flat. Right, I'll try not to faint. Apologies for this. Right. Oh, sore, really sore. Oh. Super glue my finger. Yeah, a bit too much blood for super glue, I think. Anyway, it's only superficial, just taking the skin off the end of my finger. It's not life-threatening. I'm useless. Right.
Oh, let's not look at it.
Yep.
That one there, that one
Yep.
first.
Oh dear. What a wally. Can't really edit this bit out, can I? Nearly done. We'll get this glued on in a second, then we'll catch up where we should be. Right, thank you, Tina. Thank you. Right, what a fool. Okay, back to this now. What a wally. Right, glue down this side again. Well, that's made me sweat, that does. I'm not good with blood. I can watch it on the TV, but I can't do it in real life, especially my own blood. Oh, jeez. Right. This is the other section, so this is going on the back now of the platform. Okay. It's that one. Now the other side should have glued nice and tight, oh, nice and securely now. So if I run my finger and try not to get any blood anywhere, run my fingers down here, you see that? We're now creating a wrapped platform edge on this bit. So we're going to get a nice crisp fold by running the clean fingers up and down there. We'll get nice crisp edges on things. Then fold it back on itself a little bit. I'm going to run out of U here in this tube. Let's see if we can get enough out of it to do the job.
I don't know whether my mic's still on, but
Should be. Is it blue? Is it flashing?
I turned it off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's on. You're on.
Ray's asked, is there a maximum width of platform for the papers?
Yes and no. 130 mil on off of a single sheet, but you can use sheets back to back to go up to 260. So that's a heck of a platform, really. 260 mil. So you would get 260 mil, really. So it's a pretty wide platform, and you can just cut them down. I'll show you in a minute how they work and how to cut them down and things. And I'll try not to cut my other fingers off at the same time. I've been really careful in previous weeks and never had a problem. But the moral of that story is cut the wraps out the night before. You plonker. Right. Okay, so I've let the glue dry a little bit on that side, just so we can get that to glue down quicker and not have loads of glue leaking out the edges. So I'm just going to rub the side down, then rub that bit down. It doesn't sting anymore, it stopped hurting now. Still when I did it though. Okay, so we've got that side wrapped. I'm going to do the same now with this one. I'll try and work a little bit quicker to try and catch up, because it's 10:40 already. Now what you'll notice on this one is there's such a slight overhang of the wraps on that piece there. So I just need to nip those out with a knife. So that's going to be our top. So I'm going to write on, have I got a pen? No, I haven't got a pen. Writing's pen. I'm just going to write on there that this is the top of our platform, just so I can remember which way up it goes, because they look fairly similar. They're not, but they look similar. Turn it over on the side, and I'm just going to clear this out of here, where the tabs will go. I don't want those in there. It's better to clip them out than leave them in, otherwise they'll be too tight. Now on the double-sided platform, these wouldn't overlap. It's just because we're doing a single-sided platform that you just need to trim away these pieces. Nearly done. Pardon me. Right. What's that? Okay, platform top. This now, hopefully, will fit on there. There we go. We have a flush side at the back there with a little bit of extra detail along the top. And you can see there's just a bit of our join. Probably can't see it very much. It's there. There is a little bit of a join. Adds a little extra detail to the top section, I think, anyway. So it gives you a bit of a ledge. Nothing, just a bit like a design feature rather than a definite ledge, which is fine. Then you'd run your platform fencing and things like that down there, or your wall, or whatever you want. And then at the front, we've now got an overhang on there. Look. So I'm going to glue that on. Again, laser cut kit glue, standing in its wet pot to stop the tip blocking up. All the wet pot is a bit of blue or any kitchen paper with water in it. That's what it is. Really simple. So we're going to put some glue down here.
Chris has asked how consistent are the colours on the printed sheets. I've had tarmac card come in various shades from a well-known company. Yeah, now it's a bit like wallpaper. Wallpaper you tend to buy in batches, so you get perfect colour match. Now, we occasionally calibrate the machines, but we don't always calibrate the machines because they're pretty consistent. I wouldn't worry too. This isn't an excuse either. My thing with any of these textures is that in real life things are so different, and asphalt is so patchy, concrete's patchy, bricks are patchy. Stuff. The real world isn't consistent and all the same colour. So my thing would be, if you get one batch of stone, okay, a platform run, it might look a bit different. So if you have an idea of building a 3-metre platform, I would say buy enough texture at the same time for the 3-metre platform, because we usually print on demand. So for textures, we don't keep them in stock because they take literally a couple of seconds to come out of the printer. So we print on demand. If you're doing a 3-metre platform, 5-metre platform, whatever, try and buy enough to do that one platform or that platform. But I wouldn't be overly concerned about things like asphalt. Brick is probably more of a concern, but we don't really get massive inconsistencies. If we change printing machines, then if we swap the current printer for another one, then yes, we probably get different performance. But from batch to batch of toners, there's very little difference, to be honest. You'd hardly notice it. But if there is a subtle difference, I wouldn't worry. It's part of the real world. Look at any building and any section of asphalt, it'll be different. And you don't really want the world to be uniform because it isn't uniform. Right, so that's that. it's done. That's that bit of platform. Now we're on to the interesting bit, making it actually look like a proper platform. So we're going to put this on the top, which is card. Now again, the kit will come with card. I know a lot of people don't like card, but if you're wrapping it, it's perfectly fine. If you want to do something more fancy, go for laser board on the top. Use LX232, I think it is, things like that for your platform surface, and LX318 and other engraved platform surfaces. You can use those. This might be a longer session than planned actually this morning because it's taking longer than I thought to do this. Mainly because I cut my finger. Okay, this is the platform section. Now what I'm going to use on here to give us a bit of a scored edge first so I know where we're working from is on the page there's little orange lines or orange arrows there, and I've got this which I've been trying to find for weeks. I didn't know where it had gone, but I found it in the box this morning. It's my scoring tool. All it is a biro with no ink. I've taken the ink out of it, done loads of scribbling and emptied it completely. And all I'm going to do is use that to score between the two arrows to give us a folding edge for the very edge of our platform. So it's just an empty biro. The benefit of it is it gives you a nice, you won't be able to see this, but there's now a score mark in there which allows us to fold the paper. It doesn't damage the print on the paper. I think it's really easy to work with. And you can't cut your fingers because it's not a knife. Right, I'm keeping well out of the way this time. It's funny because as I did it, I saw it coming. I thought that's going to hit my finger. And it did. All right. So we're only going to use coping on one side now, this platform, because it's a single-sided platform. So we're not going to use the coping at the back of the sheet. If you wanted to put the coping on the side, if it was a double-sided platform, then it's the same principle. And if you watch the video from a couple of weeks ago of the other test build, you'll see exactly how we wrapped it, but it's pretty much the same as the technique we used for that. And you would score down your fold line so you know exactly where you're putting the white line. And we've got watching this morning, 294. It's not bad. Oh, that's good morning to a lot of people. And David, Justin's a bleeding nuisance. It's a bleeding nuisance. I thought I was a bleeding nuisance. I am a bleeding nuisance. It is a bleeding nuisance. You're right there, David, when you cut your finger. Especially when you're trying to do a build and there's people watching. It's even worse. Right, so that's given us a fold line, you see, so we can put a nice crease in there. That gives us a position now for where we're going to put this. So this one, so we have to, because this is a longer section on there, we're going to use a couple of platform sheets, and I'll show you how to join it as well. Where's the other platform sheet gone? Oh, that's here somewhere. I have 5 of them. Come here. Right. I'm just going to cut another one out then for this bit. Score again quickly. What's that?
Carl at Brooks had maybe a sales opportunity to sell biros with no ink.
Yeah. You have to sit for hours scribbling on bits of paper. And what's it? It literally is just a Bic biro. It's been around for donkey's years. I don't know where I had the idea from. Well, where I had it from? I found somebody mentioned it at some point using an empty biro. I can't think of who it was. I thought that was actually quite a really clever idea. So just any old biro, take the ink out the middle and dispose of it, and then scribble away for 10 minutes until no more ink appears. You have yourself a scoring tool. Right, so we've got 2 bits of texture. What we do now, we're going to put that on there. We're going to do the same with that piece, to put the extension or the extra bit on the end, and then we'll trim that back. That's going to go on there. We're going to trim that off, and we've got that how we want it. We trim it roughly, and then we'll trim along the back, fold the back over, fold the front over, and that's ready to go on there. And we have the first part of the platform finished. It's just the bit that takes some time. So if I can borrow Tina's pen a second. Oh, sorry. Which I've dropped. Tina's pen, and put a mark on here so I know roughly where to put the glue. So glue up to there, and glue up to there.
People have said you need a ruler with a guard on it.
Yeah. I need a Fisher Price knife. Plastic scissors I should be allowed to use. Plastic scissors. I didn't know there was such a thing as finger guards on rulers, but there probably is actually. Probably not a bad idea.
Rob said to buy you a paper cutting safety ruler.
Yeah, definitely. Might save.
And David's got one with a guard on it.
Right. I'll have to have a look then. I didn't realise you could get them, to be honest. I thought it was just. You just had to be more careful than I was. Right, so that's that bit. I'm going to glue this into there. Like that.
Derek's given a gentle reminder about not forgetting the texture sheets and engage.
Yep. Yeah. Right, you wouldn't believe how long these things take. It's not engaged. It's just stuff just takes ages. We get into work on a Monday. I think, right, set my stall out for things I'm going to do for the week. And before you know it, the Wednesday live comes around. I think, I need to get a load of stuff prepared for that, and I'm nowhere near where I should be. And then by the time it's like, yes, Monday and Tuesday, I've spent all day just weathering textures. In fact, no, most of last week as well, we spent weathering platform textures and weathering brick wall textures and things. And it just takes hours. And I enjoy it, but it just takes so long to get them to a point where we're happy and we know they're going to work for everybody. And I like to release things in as timely manner as possible. I know certain things that have dragged on for years, but some of the work, it just takes a long time to get things developed. These have been quite a labour of love. I mean, Dylan was working on the platform sections for a good few days before I took over, or had them passed to me, so I could then do the bits to put them into a sort of production-ready version. So it's not a quick process, right? There we are. We have a bit of a platform appearing. Look, we've got a nice platform edge, which then, when that sits on top of there, it's going to give us our hopefully lovely platform. I just need some better light in here as well. It's quite dark this morning, isn't it? So what we're going to do now is trim this back off here because we don't need much at the back there. Like I say, if you're working with longer platforms, you can work with longer pieces of card like this and just wrap continuous lengths. You can glue them. You could use pieces of paper to glue extra ones together. So you can put another card piece at the end here. Use some paper just to hold it in position and wrap it as you go. Then it would still sit on top of this anyway. But we're just doing 2 sections this morning, which is going to take us till about 12 o'clock, I think, at the rate I'm going. So the back we're just going to wrap just to give us a tidy edge. We're not really worried about the thickness of it because we haven't got an overhang or anything like that, so we want to sort of hide it in a way. But it's only about 1 millimetre thick, so you won't really see it at the back of platform anyway, in terms of a noticeable thickness of material. I think it will work quite well. Okay, so that's that bit of platform wrapped. So that's going to go on top of there like that. We're just going to wrap that other end, and then we'll have a completed first section of platform. So we're getting there. Right, where did my other sheet go? There. So same again with this one, and we're going to put that on there. Now, what I'm hoping is that the edge on this sheet is as neat as the edge on this sheet, which means we can just butt that up and we won't have too much of a visible edge on things when it's done. So I'm going to mark on here roughly what I want.
Chris is asking why can't the platform tops be printed same length as the walls?
It probably could be. The only problem is we've got instructions on that sheet to tell you how to guide you through how to do it. Two options, I suppose. We either do the platform sections, shorten the platform section to fit these, because the thing is, this is based on the standard sheet that we've had out for years, which is TX142, I think. It's been out for a long time. Now, we either make these long platform sections slightly shorter, so they're the same length as the platform textures. I don't know. What's Tina think? What would you do? Should we make the long platform section instead of 280 mil? Should we make them slightly shorter at what's that? 252. Should we make the long platform section 252? We've still got time because we haven't released them, so we've got time to change them to be that long. What does everybody think while you're watching? Should we make the long platform section 252 millimeters long rather than 280 mil? What do you reckon? Let's have a poll.
I think because you wouldn't get would you get the extra bit out if you took the instructions off the bottom?
No, you wouldn't quite, because of the, no, you wouldn't quite. We'd have to. The reason why the instructions aren't on the instruction sheet is because they're available for anybody that wants to use them for scratch building. So the instructions are on there to guide you through the basic use of them if you're using them on your own scratch building projects, you see. So there are instructions printed on the texture sheet to show you what to do. That's the reason. Okay, so I'm going to do the same again, wrap this on here. So this is all part of a development, you see. So we could drop the length of these down to 252. They'd be slightly cheaper, fractionally cheaper. And if we did do that, I suppose then you could use a whole sheet to think. The only thing then is that maybe some of the slabs are I don't know. I'll have a look at it. I'll have a look. Something I've got to think about while I have my lunch.
Birch Rather asking when they're going to be available.
Let's say from tomorrow. Platform text, platform sheet, platform sections from tomorrow. They'll start appearing hopefully on the site this afternoon, once we've now solved the quandary of whether we're doing 252 millimeter platform sections or 280 mil sections. Has anybody posted any comment? 280 mil, longer is better. Yeah, see, that's the thing. We can't fit the full texture sheet, so we would have to do it so that, yeah, you'd have to wrap your textures like this. But the thing is, you're going to end up with joins anyway. And like I said, if you're doing a longer run, it's only I'm only building this section this morning because it's the section I'm building. If I'm doing a longer run, I would use the longest pieces of card I can, and I would wrap the textures as I go. So I wouldn't be cutting short pieces of texture like this. I've only done it like this because I'm going to put a ramp on the end and I'm working on them individually. Whereas if you're building a long run, you would use the longer pieces of card that are supplied with the kit and then wrap those and stick those on in one go. So you're still going to end up with joins. You'll just have less than I've got. It's just the way I'm doing it this morning, that's all. I hope that sort of makes sense.
Melvin's asking if the stone and brick texture sheets embossed or flat.
They're flat because we don't have a method to emboss them, so they are flat, but they are photorealistic. As Tina will tell you, I spent 2 days editing photographs, editing individual stones off of the wall that I photographed at St Austell to create the textures for these platforms. I was editing individual bricks to get them so that, or individual stones, so they look 3D, they look embossed from the photograph, but they're not embossed, but they have that appearance when you look at them from a distance. All of our stuff is flat, which is it's because it's printed on a big digital laser press thing downstairs. So there we go. There is a join. You can just about see it, but it's not overly. What's it? You could hide it with a bit of weathering powder, or if you colour the paper edges before you glue it on, like I didn't. Colour it before you stick it on. You'd hardly notice. So we're going to glue that on, and we've completed the first part of the platform. Then it's onto the ramp, which is the same principle, just a lot smaller and a bit slopey. And if you're not waffling while you're doing this, they're a lot quicker to build. And don't cut your finger off. You'd be finished a long time before I had. Loads of glue. And thank you to everybody for tuning in as well. We've still got 280 people watching, which is brilliant. And I hope you're all safe and well. Hopefully we're on our way out of lockdown, which would be amazing. Get back to some sort of normality. We're just in the process of sorting out with Wally what we're going to do at the show this year, assuming it's going to go ahead. Hopefully it'll go ahead. It'd be nice to get out and meet some people again in the real world. And wow, I think this is actually looking pretty smart. Now we're just gluing this top edge on. I'm just using the bench just to position the top cardboard section, because there's obviously no lip at the back, there's just a lip at the front. I'm using that as a flat surface to give us our overhang at the front, which is there. And you've got your, see, holes for cables. And then if we look at the front, we have a nice, hopefully 3D weathered stone finish. Then we've gone for concrete, vintage concrete coping stones, white edge painted on there. Obviously it's all printed, you don't have to do any painting or anything. And then we've got a nice weathered finish on the back, again stone, 2 ledges, but there's no ledge as such, but you can just see a little bit of detail, which is nice, just gives it a little bit of extra interest in design. And then the top surface has gone on. And there we go, we have a piece of platform, which I think looks really pretty blinking good. Doesn't it? Right, now then, ramps. Now of course, you get 2 of these in the pack as well. So we've built one of them. I'm not going to build the other one now because you'll be here till 4 o'clock this afternoon. And I don't want to lose any more fingers. So ramps now, as I mentioned before, with the cardboard sections. Okay, this comes with ramp pieces on here, but it's also got longer sections if you want, if you're then running on into other longer pieces of platform. We're going to throw in as many card pieces as we can get on the sheet to make things easy. So you can really just do your thing. You can mix and match with these. But for the moment, purpose of the exercise, I'm going to use these card pieces for the ramp, which I'm hoping are the right ones, which Tina went to find, which they look like they are. Yeah, that's right. That way. Yeah, 2 mil bigger. That's right. 2 mil bigger. And 2 mil. Is that right? I think so. Yeah, I think we're right. Find out in a minute.
A couple of people have asked whether have you got a price for them?
Prices for platforms, I did mention briefly on Facebook last night. We're going to try and position these so they're competitive with other laser cut platforms. I know there's a few other options around there, not wrapped versions like these. They're all kind of plain MDF or ply, which you've got to paint. We're going to try and position them so they're competitive with those. You're looking at around, for the short platform section, which is this one here, that length, which is 168 mil, I think somewhere between £6 and £7. Ramps probably 450, £5, something like that. Long sections for 2 of them, somewhere between the £10 and £12 mark. Yeah, I've got to look at the laser time. That's the thing. I've got to look at exactly how long they take to cut, and we can price them up from there, really. So I just need to make sure I've got all my parts correctly positioned on this. So same principle for this. We're going for the ramp pieces. So we have the two sides, two ramp sides, two spacer pieces. This will hopefully not take as long as the other one, assuming we've got all the parts correct here. A lot less to wrap, so it should be quicker anyway. I'm going to use this jig to hold the bits in place. And when we've done, I'll show you how it all clips together as well when you've got two pieces together. So that goes into there.
Melvin's asked about curving platforms. How would you do them?
Curved platforms, right? We have a wall which is going to work for that. I'll hopefully try and demonstrate that next week. But we have flexible wall. If you've built the bridge kit, or if you have a look at the bridge kit that we do, KX59 bridge, we have flexible MDF, or a way of producing flexible MDF, and the curved platform walls will use exactly the same technique. They will have flexible MDF walls, and that should hopefully be a nice easy system to work with and sturdy as well. So right, I'm going to try and push this back into the corner to hold it square while it goes off. Right. So that's that piece. Now I'm just going to check that I've got the right top pieces. I may not have. Yeah, I do. Right, that's the top piece. That's the correct top piece. We've got overhang on one side. Obviously, when you're building this, you'll need to build them, make sure you build them handed. You can turn this piece that way or that way, depending on whether you're building a ramp to go on the left or right hand side of the thing. So we're going to build a ramp to go on this side of our platform. So we're going to put that way so it overhangs there. So I'm going to write on here so I know that's, if it'll write, it won't, it doesn't, pens don't write on thingy. I'm just about to see top in there. So I know that's my top. That's going to go on there. We'll do the same with this piece. That's going to sit on that way. You fool. That way. It's going to sit on there, giving us the overhang on this side. So we're just going to cut a couple of pieces of the wraps out. Try and be quick, but not too quick.
Richard's asked, how would you apply platform papers on curved sections?
Right here, I'll show you in a second, and we will do a tutorial on that as well. I'll try and explain it in a second. Okay, part of the reason why there's such a large area of texture on these sheets is so that you can create a curved platform out of that part. Then what you can do is if you trim off this, off the coping, and trim the coping off the other part of the sheet here, if you glue, when you've got this strip, so the strip will be like that, imagine this is coping, and you've got your curved platform. I haven't got a curved platform, so you'll have to just bear with me on this one. If you glue your coping on the edge like that and position it, so when you've already scored, you've got a score line in it, so you know where to position your coping. If you glue your coping around the edge of your platform that way, you can you can use scissors to cut up to the edge of the platform, top and bottom, and do it on the slab joints, and bend it down. The paper's got just enough sort of give in it to work with a reasonably curved platform. Like I say, you couldn't really do it on a first radius, but second and third radius and fourth radius shouldn't be a problem. But you can just snip little parts out of the paper, and we'll do a tutorial on it in the future. If you've just if you just snip the paper on each slab joint for a start and see if it bends around okay. If you need another one, just snip in between again. It just looks like smaller coping, and just bend each one round and do the same underneath and fold your coping around the curves, and it'll work a treat actually. It works quite well. There's quite a few people done it on YouTube with our platform textures and things, so it does work okay. Right, I'm going to cut. In fact, I'll glue this on, I think, and then trim it to size. I need to build these again this afternoon so I can take pictures of them for the instructions as well. So we're working on this side being the
I think it might be an idea to do what somebody suggested last week and have stuff cut out and ready.
yeah. So here's one I made earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a bit quicker, wouldn't it? Right, so just going that on there. And then I will
Carla Brooke says he believes Richard Watson at New Junction showed how to use your sheets on his curved platform on his YouTube channel.
I thought he did. So I knew somebody had done it somewhere. Okay, I'm just going to cut that short there. Then we can roll this one round. So, sorry it's taking so long, but we're getting there. We'll go back and wrap the side of the platform in a minute, the wall, so that the main part of the ramps is done. Okay, so this is going to form that top part of there, top part of the ramp. So do the same again to the other side now. So we're working on that being the top. So I want to glue that onto there. But yeah, next week we'll try and get more prepared. So I'm not doing so much cutting. Certainly not cutting your fingers. There we go. One. So press down nice and hard on these corners and you get a nice sharp edge. There's a nice finish on there. Right, I'm going to cut ramp wraps out now. I need that piece in a bit.
Ian's just posted put a couple of links up for 2 guides that have been done in ScaleModelScenery, the Railway Modellers Club.
Of course, I thought, hey, Ian's done them as well, hasn't he? Done them as guides, yeah. Yes, over on the Railway Modellers Club, there are guides as to use, because we originally developed the platform textures with a view to people upgrading the grey Hornby platforms. And Ian did a guide on how to upgrade your, I'm selling this, plastic Hornby platforms. But if you've got plastic Hornby platforms and want to make them look better, you can use our wraps to really improve the finish of the platforms, of the grey plastic ones. Right, I'm just going to go stick this on here. So that should sit hopefully on there nicely, which it does. Getting somewhere now. So another probably 10 minutes and we'll have somewhere near a half decent platform. And this afternoon I can build the other parts and make a complete small platform ready for the photographs for the website. Just smear a bit of glue along the edge there.
Derek's asked whether the texture sheets in Engage will be available on the club site.
They will be, yeah. Everything we're doing, anything texture related and stuff. Obviously, we can't put laser cut stuff in the club, but all of the textures will go in the club site. Yes, 100%. Right, so that's that one there. So we've got the wrap on that. I'm going to leave that long and trailing while the glue sets. I'm just going to quickly cut this one out as well. Yeah, Ian should have put all of the, or is in the process of, if he hasn't already, putting all the platform textures on the site. The new stone textures are on the site, and these ones will be up as well, because I think I've done these as PDF files now, ready to go on there. So they'll all be on the Rowing Modelers Club. If they're not already there, they'll be there imminently. Right, trim the back of this off. That's that one. Now we're doing this bit. Try and speed up a bit now, because it's obviously not the most exciting of things watching somebody cut pieces of card out, pieces of paper out. Probably the longest build we've done, but
Gaz is asking whether it's the platform kit's available in Engage. Like I've already said it already, but
it will be. I was going through this in my head this morning, making sure that we can do everything okay. We can. It will work in Engage. We just have to adjust the size. We just do the base from 2mm, then the top section will be from 1mm laser board probably, and then probably still stick to this 0.7mm card for the top layer. But it's doable. They will be a pretty easy. It's probably one of the easiest kits to convert to Engage, to be honest. So once I've got the instructions written for the double O gauge version, the Engage one should sort of drop out fairly quickly. Right, there we go. We've got sides now to our platform. These will now fit onto here. As I said, there are joints because we've done it with separate sections, so you'll see the joints. If you didn't want to see the joints, I'll just trim those off. What you could have done is, rather than me trimming those off, you could have left that loose, and you could have put that, so that would be sticking out of the end of that, if that makes sense. So still be a continuous piece of paper, and you would just glue that on and put your joint somewhere up here, or cut a random zigzaggy sort of line up there, colour the end with a pencil, and you wouldn't see the joint at all. But you will see the joint a little bit on this. I'm not too fussed because I'm creating individual platform sections for the purpose of the exercise. Otherwise, you can strategically place a small section of this paper over the top of there. But we're just test building, to be honest, this morning. So what you do on your actual layout in terms of hiding joints is entirely up to you. But the tools are there with all the texture sheets and the spare sections and all the rest of it. All the gear to be able to hide every joint is there. So I'm just trimming these tabs out, or holes for the tabs. Done. Okay, and we're going for platform this side, so I'm going to glue that on there. Gives us the top section of that. Wrong glue.
Ian's asked, could you build the platform and ramp sections, join them together, and then lay the paper tarmac over the end of the platform and ramp?
Yep.
To reduce the number of joints.
Yep, you certainly could. Yeah, not a problem. I'm doing it this way because I'm testing it. This is still a test build, so I'm making sure that everything goes correctly, rather than trying to build a full platform in one go and then going, oh heck, that didn't all work. I'm building the individual sections and showing you how they clip together. What you could do is leave this top section off, take this, clip these together, leave these, even leave the front and back platform wraps off of all of it. Just wrap this top lip section, because you're not going to see the joint there. There's a tiny, tiny, tiny joint between those two pieces of the lip there. So you could leave those, and you could, like I say, there's longer sheets of card in the kit, so you can stagger your joints instead of having joints like I've got. You can sort of mix them, well, we call them overlay them or stagger them, so your joints are less obvious. Whereas we're going to end up with a joint, this is all in one place, just like a Hornby platform or anything else. But when you're doing it yourself, you don't have to glue the wraps on. When I glue the wraps on, you can do it when the whole thing's ready to go on your layout if you wish. But this is an exercise this morning of making sure that the parts are correct. Like I said in the newsletter last night, it's the final test build, so I've got to make sure that all the parts go together correctly and I've not messed anything up. Because if I have, and I release it too quickly, or don't think about all the various things that could go wrong, I could be in a bit of a pickle. So we're now going to wrap this one quickly, which we should have some spare edge textures here. So that was on there, so we need to put that there now.
Roger said, can you curve the MDF platform edges so that they follow the top of a curved platform?
Yeah. Yes, you could. I'm assuming curve, you mean round them, you mean? But yeah, you can shape them, you can do whatever you like, really, to be honest. But yeah, you can, yeah, or curve, if you mean, I'm not sure what you mean by curve, but if you mean curve that way, yes, you could, sort of. But the curved platform edges will be better, or platform walls will be better for that. Right, going to put some of this, again, we're going to have to trim a little bit of stuff off in a couple of places. And what I'm going to try and do on this side is I'm going to try and leave a piece of this side wrap along the edge there, just so it covers these MDF tabs, because we're going to have to try and hide these here. So I'm going to see what I can do there to make it work. So we'll play that one by ear a bit.
Andrew's asked, how do you get the laser MDF to fit so tightly?
Years of practice and adjusting your settings, to be honest. You've got to play around with your settings, and you need to know your width of your cut line and things like that. Once you know the width of your cut line, you can work for it and allow for it in the designs. But it's all kind of years of faffing about with settings for hours and hours and hours, really. Same again. And wrap the edge front and back. That'll work. It's that one. Now, like I say, this back edge is going to be a bit more of a challenge, because we want to leave a little bit of the vertical there when we fold it over, but then cut the other pieces out for the tabs. So we'll have to experiment a bit on this one.
A couple of people are saying that they prefer this style of video rather than here's one I made earlier.
Right.
It makes it more personal.
That's all right. That's good to know. I don't mind doing it this way. And I would, to be honest, if I was to prepare, the only thing I would do is cut the wraps out, because that's the boring bit. Just watching somebody running a knife up and down a piece of board is a bit kind of. Yeah. So that's the only bit I'd probably prepare. I wouldn't build other things. I'd rather build it as we go. Just cutting the wraps out to get things positioned. Now then, what's the easiest way of doing this, Tina? We want to leave, yeah, we've got to cut those out, essentially. Let's wrap this end first while we still think about it. We'll have an idea in a minute. To get my head around it so I can put it in the instructions this afternoon. what I might do. This section. Trying to find a hole there somewhere. There we go. Just trim these out so that the tabs on top of the sloped platform or platform ramps will fit into there. That's all.
Derek's asked what cutting knife are you using?
And this knife has been around for donkey's years. I've had it for, in fact, the only bit I can remember is doing exactly the same as I did this morning to my finger while I was sat outside building a model of a Red Arrows, Airfix Red Arrows model. Sat outside at a table at Mum and Dad's house. I must have been, I don't know, 12, and I cut the end of my finger off in exactly the same way when I was doing it. I remember that vividly, doing it and thinking, I've removed the end of my finger. What do I do now? I've never done that before. I do remember that, and I've had it since then. It's an Exacto, something like that, made in the USA, and I've had it for years, say since I was 12, and I'm now 48, and it's kind of disintegrating a bit at the end. There's bits falling off of it and all sorts, but it still works. But yeah, I've had it for donkey's ages. In fact, the easiest way to do this, I think, is if we score that by rubbing it really tightly there, we can then mark the position on there. See, I knew this had cut. This is an idea would come for this. If we do that, well, and then remove that there, and do the same again there, remove that there. Help if I could cut straight, but if we remove that little notch, when we wrap that round, we're going to have tabs that we can, or holes that we can stick the tabs on there into. Not much of a problem. Hopefully, a little bit more out of there. And we should pretty well cover the side of those tabs. There may be a little bit left, but that's my inaccurate cutting, not anything else. No, it's going to work. So, cut a notch out that look, and for when you're doing the flush-sided platforms. On the other side, the platform where there's overhang, you don't need to. You just need to open up the holes in there. In fact, you could do the same thing on there, actually. Cut little notches once you know where it's going. In fact, I'll put that in the instructions. Cut notches. That's the whole purpose of these things you see this morning, doing a live test build when I'm not building a production kit as such, is I can work out the best way of doing stuff as I go. So that's the way to make that work.
John's asked if the new stone wrap's done yet.
For the platforms?
Not sure.
Yeah, that's what we're using now. We're using stone wraps for the platforms now. That's what we're using this morning. I think I put, I haven't put them on the site yet, but they are going on the site this afternoon. And say throughout the course of the afternoon and tomorrow, all of the platform sections and all of the wraps will appear. All of the main wraps are there. The surface wraps are there and all that kind of stuff. I just need to get these sidewall wraps done. Right, but they're all ready. They'll be on the site later. TX, what is it? TX what? TX. Can't remember the one I'm using this morning. They've got TX248, TX247, various ones. They'll be there this morning, this afternoon. Right. Moment of truth. Does that fit on there?
Beechwood Vale have asked if we sell tools.
We sell knives. We do the Swan Morton craft knives. We sell all the blades for the knives. We occasionally do have rulers in. There we go. Fits perfectly. Look. How's that? That's not bad at all, is it? Quite pleased with that. There's a little bit of a visible paper edge there, which you could hide quite easily. It's only because it's on a slope. You could hide that with a grey felt pen. In fact, if I can find a grey felt pen, I'll go and grab one quickly. Off. Come on. Just let me run to my desk and see if I've got one. Right, grey felt pen. So I'm just going to a little bit of, literally nothing fancy. This is just a kid's grey pen. It's one of Elizabeth's, an IKEA Marla colouring pen from a set she had years ago. So I must have confiscated it at some point. So a bit of grey pen down there, and then we're going to put a little bit of glue both sides. That's plenty. That's the overhanging side.
Goodness says hopefully you've changed the blade at least once in those 35 odd years.
Yeah, but I think I probably last changed it about October last year. It's getting a bit blunt now, probably why I cocked up earlier. But I have changed it in the 35 years, yeah. I have. I don't like to change the blade very often. I like to make the blades last as long as possible. Right, so there we go. That's on. I've hidden that line down the back there with a bit of grey pen, so you can hardly see it now. It's there, just a little touch of it. This should now clamp or clip onto here, and then we're going to do the top wraps, and we're done. What time is it? 11:30. Flipping out. Time is flying. Okay, so these should now, with a bit of luck, allow us to clip this. These are tight, these clips. There we go. That's one on. There we go. Here it's quite a tight fit because it squeaks when it goes on, or creaks. There we go. Now the platform's starting to take shape. So a bit of a join, a little bit of a join there, just a little. But we could hide that. In fact, we'll hide it. I'll do it in a minute. I'll show you how to cut a little bit of a strip of brick paper to hide that. But the principle is there. Like I say, I keep repeating it, but I'll say it again, just to get everybody's joined us. You don't have to build it individual sections. You can build the main MDF base, don't put the top on, wrap the top pieces, or you can put the top on there, but then use the side walls, put those on as one longer strip, so your joints are not all in the same places. So you can stagger your joints. So you'd have a joint there in the top, but then you can put your joint up here for the brick paper. So you'd hardly even notice it. And the same with this one on the top. Do the same thing with that. Right, now what we need to do now is make sure we've got the right cardboard pieces. So that one goes there, and that one's going to go like that. So that's going to give us the top section of our platform. Hopefully we've got enough here to make it out of. Again, you can pay attention. I'm not paying attention to the slab positioning and things like that on this. I'm literally just trying to get it done fairly quickly, so you're not sitting here watching this all day while I faff about with texture sheets. So I'm going to wrap this and this. I'm not too worried about perfect slabbing and things. I'm just going to trim it to make it fit. When you're doing your own version, you can be a lot more particular than I'm going to be about widths of things and making sure you're finishing exactly on a slab and all the rest of it. I'll do my best. I'll go as neat as I can, as close as I can, but I'm not going to spend ages cutting things to be 100% perfect just because time's getting on. But I'm going to use this piece of sheet here.
Peter's asked whether you're going to be reading out the budget before you finish.
No, no, I'm not. I wouldn't have a clue on that, I'm afraid. I'm sorry it's taking so long. So if anybody does want to disappear off to watch the budget, then feel free. It's like I say, this is a test build of something that came off the laser yesterday afternoon. I've got 12 of these sat on the desk over behind me that need building before I can release them all. I've got to test every single one of them. And I thought, well, I'll do a live test with you all this morning so you can see how they go together. I can find out whether I've really messed anything up. and sort of take it from there really. So that's going to be our ramp top. We're nearly done, about 5 minutes left or so, maybe 10 minutes, and we will be done and you're free to do whatever you want to do. Which has reminded me now of that song that Walter was just trying to sing with Dominic on the radio this morning, the Primal Scream song, which I've no idea about the lyrics. So if you're listening to Radio X this morning and you heard Chris Moyles, that's the song that's now in my head, Primal Scream one. Right. The wrap front and back. Again, so there's more joints in this than there will be on your versions. You can do your own thing with the texture papers. I am literally just testing the principles of this to make sure it's going to do what it's supposed to do when you get it to onto your workbenches. I know a lot of you are quite experienced at working with texture papers anyway, probably more experienced than me as well. So some of the amazing stuff that I see you all creating, it's just I'm in awe of some of it, to be honest. Now, one thing we did say yesterday, we came up with yesterday while we were sat having dinner, was we have a wall downstairs when we come into the unit, bungalow, which we are thinking of turning into a kind of wall of fame or hall of fame or whatever. You can't really think of any railway puns to relate it to apply to it, really. But we're thinking of doing a bit of a wall of fame thing. So if you wanted to email in photographs of your layout or photographs of our kits that you've used on your layouts, we would like to put them up on the wall when we come into, we see as soon as we come into HQ straight in front of us. I want to put them up on the wall there for everyone to see, any visitors to see and stuff. So if you fancy joining in, I will set up an email address and put it in the newsletter, and you can email your pictures in if you wish. Right, so that's that bit on. Now we're just going to do the final bit of the ramp. The joints aren't too obvious. There is a joint. My phone's gone onto low power mode now already. Yeah, so Wall of Fame, if you want to send any pictures in, it would be lovely to feature some of your layouts on the wall. I'll set up an email address. You can email it in. We'll print them off. And then what we may do is at the end of the year or in a couple of years or whenever the wall is full, we'll get a photo book done, I think, of everybody's layout. And we might make that available. And if anybody wanted to purchase one, we might donate all the profits to charity, which I think would be fun to do. No idea what charity, but we might do that. So if you wanted to be on our Wall of Fame, look out for an email address. We'll post it on Facebook pages and stuff like that soon. Just make sure I've got that the right way around. Yes, I have. As Dylan keeps telling me, measure twice, cut once. In fact, I'll move that across a bit so that I do get a slab on the edge. Right, nearly done. Try not to lose any more fingers in the process. Just down that. Cut out front.
Rob's asked whether the platform side wraps of when they're becoming available before the platforms themselves.
No, same time. Well, really, they might be, well, within reason, they might be within 24 hours of each other. The side wraps will be available very, very shortly. They're ready to go. I'll try and get them on this afternoon, but they'll be within hours of each other. There may be a slight time delay, but it's just because it will take me some time to get the instructions written for these bits. They will be sorted. Yeah, they'll all be all on the site. They're done. They'll be sorted this afternoon. I did the PDF files yesterday. I just need to do the preview images for the textures. And like I say, I've got the instructions to write for these bits, but this is an afternoon on them, and I should have them done mostly today. and then send all the files down to production. Drive Sam and Frank up to the wall. Okay. Right, so the final piece. There we go, final bit there is wrapped. We're now going to glue that onto there. And we have the makings of a platform. Just a bit more glue, and we're done. And then I was going to carry on and do another build this morning because I didn't think this would take so long. I was going to build Dylan's new Motive Power Depot access platform thing, which is, I'll show you a picture of it in a minute before we're done, when we're finished, of what we're going to do. I was going to do a build of that this morning as well, but we've run out of time. So that might have to be next week or the week after, but the kit for that will be released hopefully back end of this week anyway, if I can get it built tonight. I meant to take it home last night and build it, but I left it downstairs in reception like a fool. Right, that's it, final bit gone on. So there we go. We have a platform, a single-sided platform that looks somewhere near decent, way more decent than we ever had before for platforms because we didn't have one. So I'm quite pleased with that. I think that's quite good. Again, yeah, you can do your own thing with joining textures very quickly. You could even use a small piece of texture here. If we just cut this, we can quite easily and quickly divert the eye away from this thing. Now, if you cut a slightly wavy edge, again, you'll divert the eye a little bit more away from the thing. If you follow, I'm trying really hard not to cut my fingers again. If we do that, and then if we very quickly colour the edges on there.
Larry said, why not make a calendar for next year out of what just picks on proceeds to charity?
Absolutely, yeah. We may do photo book, calendar, all sorts of things. Yeah, we could do loads, couldn't we? But it would be amazing. I'd just like to get to see, put some photographs up on the wall downstairs, create a bit of a wall of fame, see some of your layouts. And I see so much stuff on Facebook, and we miss that much stuff. It gets posted on there and it disappears. I mean to save stuff off and ask if we can use it, but to sort of share with the people. But it would be amazing if we did a bit of a wall of fame kind of thing. We'd see them every day. It would inspire us and keep us motivated to create more fancy stuff. Right, all I've done is a little, like, basically cut a price tag, same shape as a price tag, and I've stuck it over that joint. See, and it's just taken your eye away from that. So on the other side, you've got the joint, which you can see there. That, and I'll do it again on this side. So we're going sort of price taggy shape.
John said, can you not glue both small bits to the wrap and fit as one?
Yep, you can. Yeah, you can do this today. I've just, as I said before, I've just done this in individual sections this morning so that I know that it's going to go together as it's supposed to go together, because you can buy these in any combination you want. You can have the ramps, you can have the whatever bits, all the bits individually. So I needed this morning to make sure that all the parts went together as I'm expecting them to. So rather than trying to do something fancy and join them all together and, excuse me, I'm concentrating on putting on, and rather than trying to do fancy things and start winging it too much, I'm doing it based on how I've got it designed in my head so that you can build the individual sections so I know the sections work. That's the principle of this morning's exercise, really. So price tag shape, roughly. And all I've just done is I've just coloured the edges on the paper so they're grey. And now I'm going to glue that over there. And because it's got a wavy line, you don't really notice it. And it hides that texture, or the joint in the textures, just enough there. And there we go. Still a bit of a joint in the top there. Pardon me, but again, you could wrap the other parts, the top parts, in one section if you wanted to. But I think that after an hour and 44 minutes of my waffling is a pretty decent platform, really. And then
Melvin's asked if there's any plans for timber station halt type platforms.
Yep, I've been talking to Dylan about that this morning. We have photographs of one. There's one near Whitby, or there was one near Whitby, which Dylan knows well, Dylan knows the area quite well. There's a platform we've been looking at this morning for a wooden one for that, which I said, let's get cracking on it. And I think he probably will do fairly shortly. And all you need to do now is add your LX3 94, 84, 384, LX384 platform shelter when you've painted it, which Dylan's just made a really cracking job of painting this in LNER colours. I think that's pretty damn good, don't you? Bit of platform fencing, another ramp on the end, got a little halt there. So there you go, that's that. I'm not going to build this now, but I'll just show you quickly. Very quickly, if you click on brand on there, team, and then go down a bit on the right hand side, scroll down a bit, up a bit. Sorry, there you go. Click that button there. Right, see that platform in front of that Steam logo there? That's the MPD thing that Dylan has been working on. I guess we can only surmise that it's for giving the fireman, the driver, engineers, or whatever, quick and easy, cleaner access into the cab of the loco without walking through filthy, dirty, sooty ballast and whatever else is there. So yeah, so that's what we've been working on. So if you click on that again, it should disappear. Like that. Here we go. So Dylan's been working on that, and I've got the laser cut parts here to try and assemble one. So I'm hoping to do that. I might try and build that later on today, hopefully. Dad's just joined us. We're about finished now. Morning, Dad. Hope you're all right. Hope your feet are all right. I'll speak to you later probably about them. But yeah, so that was a long build, but that's what we're going to do. I'll try and build that tonight, actually, this MPD thing, and I'll post pictures of this on Facebook and hopefully it'll go together okay. I've spotted a couple of tweaks I need to make on it, but I'll do that. I think that'll be popular with Steam fans. So yeah, platform. That's it. I will make a list of all of the part numbers and that available on Facebook and on the website, so it's obvious. But it's a mix and match system. Ramps, half extensions for the back of here, so you can go, instead of going this full width, you can go half as wide again. We've got shorter sections, these long sections, ramps. What else? Flush-sided sections, double-sided island platform sections, single-sided sections. So they're all the range is there. The whole range is there, and all the wraps are done. All the surface textures are done. There's 26 to choose from, which is crazy. And then 6 or 7 platform side textures. So that is it. Like I said, repeat it once more. You can do your thing when it comes to the wraps. You can mix and match. You can apply the wraps as you wish. You can do a whole section of card, longer sections, shorter sections, work in chunks. This doesn't look too bad. There are joints, but it's fine. To be honest, it depends how much joints annoy you. They don't annoy me particularly because I think it's made out of paper and card, so there's going to be joints. But they can be hidden pretty easily. They're not too bad at all. Just there. If you were to weather them with a bit of, I don't know, grated up pencil lead, anything like that, it would hide it quite well. In fact, I haven't got a pencil on me, but you could colour over the top of that and take that away. The grey pen I've got's a bit dark, so I wouldn't use that. But there, done.
Derek's asked what colouring pens.
What colouring pens? Any colouring pens. This is an IKEA one, which has been kicking around since Liz was about 3. And she's now 17. You can use any colouring pens. Is it Bayrol, what are they called? Colouring pens. Anything. Any cheap and cheerful, bog standard kids colouring pens. Just go into Tesco's or wherever you just order some on your shopping, or Amazon cheap ones. Don't need to be fancy. Just standard colouring pens. They're not watercolours. They're not anything. They're just kids pens. That's all they are. Just non-toxic kids pens. Not even permanent or anything. They're just felt pens you would have as a kid. Yeah, so there we are. We have a platform. We have the making. In fact, this now needs to be finished off. I need to put the other platform on the end, the other ramp on the end of it, which I might do this afternoon when I build the other one. And we should get a BB-18 built up and start building a small layout, I think, with it. What do you reckon? So, thank you everybody for watching. Just have a quick look at the comments. Loads of thank you. So thank you all for watching. It means a lot. I've really enjoyed doing these, and I'm sorry this took so long. If you switch, yeah, you can do that one. We bring both in. That's it. Hello.
yeah, thank you all for watching.
I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a long one. But yeah, another one done. So next week we'll try and do what? What did I say? Next week. Curved platforms, maybe, if we've got them done. Curved platform pieces, or it might be a build of that if we're still working on the curved platform. Depends how they go. But anyway, thank you all. Have a lovely day. I'm going to go and get a cup of coffee, a cup of tea or something, as it's now, what, 11:50. Take care. See you later.